Welcome to the Author Spotlight Show, a platform dedicated to celebrating remarkable women who share their purpose and their passion to make a difference in this world. My name is Gail Watson. I'm founder and CEO of Women Speakers Association, a global community of women who use their voice to powerfully inspire others. Today, we're going to speak and meet with co-author of Voices of the 21st Century, Women Empowered Through Passion and Purpose. This book features extraordinary women from various backgrounds and all walks of life who share how their message has merged from their experience. With passion and purpose, these stories inspire readers to embrace their own power, break barriers, and create a better future. These women are a testament to the strength and collective voice of women shaping the world that they envision. So let's join and welcome to the show international best-selling author Brigitte Stills.
Hello, Gail. How are you? And I'm honored to be here today.
Super excited to have you. Um, really excited to delve into this book just because it is fueled with purpose and passion. And if there's any woman that is that, it is you. Now you share a story. Well, you title your story "How I Got My Start in Real Estate,"
Yes,
and
I did. Yes, that's right.
so let's dive into that a little bit as to what inspired you to share that story.
Look, I was, it was an experience for me because when I started in real estate, that was actually a part-time job, which I took a role on. And for me, it grew because I became passionate about what I was doing. I was meeting these wonderful people that were out there and they were looking for a new home. Look, some were young, some were looking to work closer, move closer to their work. And I loved it. I loved taking people out. And in those days, you had to put people in your car and you had to drive them, to where the properties were. So where the rentals were for them. And I used to do that. We used to have these great conversations and I loved hearing people's journeys and, what they were looking for and their life expectancy and stuff like that. And I became passionate about, leasing properties. And that's how it started. And, after a few weeks in the job, I realized that was that was what I wanted to do. That's really my passion.
Well, you certainly followed your passion and pushed through some pretty hard times. I mean, at some point, you were built up to the number one known realtor in
Yes, yes,
Sydney.
I was. After I left property management and I got into sales, it was with the same company who had offered me the job. They'd offered me a promotion, and I was known as the first real estate woman out there in New South Wales. And yes, even then, I enjoyed what I was doing, and I became passionate. And I sort of looked at it in the sense that yes, I'm going to learn how to do this, and I'm going to show other people how to do it as well.
I love that. Now, your chapter is really, I mean, you share some great lessons out of it. And I believe that I mean, you shared with me previously that to be a good realtor, if you want to be successful in real estate, you should start off in property management, right?
Look, I really do. I really believe that if you want to be successful at something, you start from the bottom and you work your way up. And that's where I started. I started at not knowing anything about real estate in any form. And at the time, I remember when they said to me, look, we want you to get involved in property management. And all I kept thinking of is, how am I going to learn? And I asked the boss at that particular time, who's going to teach me? And he said, you'll learn on the job. And it was the same when I got into sales. Who's going to teach me? And they said, you'll learn on the job, and I thought, blimey, this is really, really hard, but it became my purpose.
It did. That is great. Now you write something very specific in your story, and in your words, share about the most terrifying night you'll never forget.
No, and when I sat down and started writing about that, I started reliving that, and I started feeling a bit nauseous about how other people were going to react. But at the end of the day, it was probably the best thing that could have happened to me in that specific way, because I learned quite a lot about it. Look, it all started when this man actually wanted to view a property in a location called North Ryde, and at that particular time at North Ryde there were about 4 or 5 buildings of home units. Everything else was land. Okay, there was nothing else around, and he said the only time that he could go to view this apartment was at 5:30 at night. And my company had already said that you finish working at 5, you don't do anything after 5, you go home. And I thought, well, me being as keen as I was and wanting to lease these properties, I went and showed this man this property. So it was actually on the second floor. Well, no, sorry, it was on the third floor of the building. And I met him there, and we walked up, and I put the key in the door and everything. And I went inside, and I started opening the balcony door because it had a magnificent view of the distance. And then I turned around, and he had taken the key out of the door. And I thought, I didn't think anything of it, And he said to me, he says, come over here. And I looked at him, and I thought, what am I going to do? Why does he want me to come over there? And, he was just being quite funny. And he said, I want you to come over here. And he grabbed my sleeve and he started talking to me. And I remember saying to him, look, I'm going to shout, I'm going to scream. And he took no notice. And I said, there's somebody else downstairs that I'm going to be meeting to show him the apartment. And he didn't take any notice at all. And then I said, there's somebody in the street that I've got to meet also. He didn't think anything of that either. And he just kept at it. And then I started thinking about what my lessons were, because I'd been at Macquarie University studying psychology. And I thought, what had I learned? And then I started thinking about what I'd actually been taught. And I must say, I started feeling quite nauseous. I was feeling a bit sick. He leant over to kiss me, and this man, actually, the odor that was coming from this man was horrific. And I started gagging, and I said, and he backed away. He backed away, and I started screaming. And he walked to the door. He threw the key down on the floor, and he walked to the door, and he turned around, and he said to me, he paused, and he turned around, and he said to me, if you tell anybody about this, I know where you work. I will find out where you live. And I just stood there, and he left and slammed the door. I quickly turned the latch on the door, and I just stood there. And then I thought, I'll wait till he's gone, because it was 5:30. This was closer to being 6 o'clock, and it was getting a bit dark. And I thought, my car's in the street. I've got to get up the driveway and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I got out of that building, and I remember sitting in the car and thinking to myself, now, this is a lesson. This is something that I should not have done. I was told not to show anybody the property after 5:30. But look, at the end of the day, I learned a lot. It was a life lesson that I actually learned. It provided me with discipline, and I became more aware of people going down the track. I became more aware and asked more questions of people that I was taking out in my car, and I think it probably saved me from a lot of incidents going forward. And at the end of the day, and I always say to women now, if you get a gut feeling that something's not right, take note of your gut, because I knew when I was meeting that man, I looked at him and I knew that, this probably wouldn't be the best person for this property, because it was a new building. And I always, even in my junior years, I always sort of looked at people thinking, are they the right, fit for this property? Is this going to be the right fit? And he wouldn't have been the right fit. But, there you go. That was a lesson. And I got out of it okay. I mean, it's, it shouldn't happen to anybody else. And I say to women now, when I'm talking to them about real estate and about property management, take note of the surrounds, and take note of your gut. If your gut says, go on, just don't stay there. Just get out of that location or wherever and go.
Wow, a story that is relatable to many, and it doesn't have to be just in real estate. I think there's too many, women that experience those scary situations, or those situations where their gut is saying one thing and then
Mm.
they override it, right?
Well,
Um,
we do that, we try and and go forward and think that we're doing the best thing and it's all an adventure and it's a job and we should be doing it. But at the end of the day, you've got to take note of what your mind and your gut tells you.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm glad you shared that story, and you were just saying some key things in there that I could see as I was reading your story, the way you described that the smell, the odor from that person.
Mm.
It's as if you can smell it right now, you know?
You know that um, I still think about that, and I think about it now because you know how you have experiences in your life and you put them in the back of your mind and you don't want to talk about them, you don't want to think about it. But after I started writing this chapter and I put it all down, down on paper and everything like along those lines. At the end of it, I felt much better because I had actually told this story. I got it out of my head, I got it out of my system, and I feel at the end of the day, this is a lesson learnt for someone else as well. You know, a lesson learned is well to be a lesson shared. We should all take note and we should all help each other.
100%. Wow. Well, we can feel your purpose for sure with what you're here to help share and to help educate and I love that about you, Bridget. And I know you're full. There's so much more of life in you, uh, lessons learned in your life to share forward, and really appreciate you diving into the courage to find your courage to share that type of story. So thank you. So we need to get a copy of your book. So
Yes.
where can we go purchase this book?
Well, this book is going to be released in February. I think it's February the 6th in 2024, and it's less than 2 months away. And I'm so excited. And to purchase a copy of this book, you go to stillsproperties.com.au and you'll be able to buy it on my website. And I love the color, I love the heart. And it's just, it's the passion that I feel that is actually on the front cover of this book.
Love that. Okay, so Stills Properties, properties.com.au to get a copy of your book. And can we pre-order from you and
Yes, you
get
can.
them hot off the press? Okay, that's really good to know. Well, Bridget, I always enjoy speaking with you. Each time I do, I go dive deeper into who you are and the richness that you bring to this world. And it is because of your courageousness, your passion, and your purpose that you really are helping to create a better tomorrow for not only yourself but others. So, want to thank you for that.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm really happy about this. And I always feel, as you know, Gail, that I always want to help someone. There always someone out there that I'm able to help.
hmm Okay, before you go, because along with all that experience and comes wisdom. So I would love to know if you could leave us with some words of wisdom before we depart.
Look, I will quote apart from my chapter in the book, and it's the lessons I've learned, the relationships I've built, and the legacy I've created will last a lifetime. And I wouldn't have it any other way. In a changing world, one thing I want to say to young women is to never give up. Don't accept someone saying to you, that's the way we do things, as a reason not to give you the job promotion or to help you with you or to help build your career. Trust me, it's worth it and you're worth it.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. You're worth it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our time here today with the amazing Brigitte Stills. Do get to know her. Check out her website at stillsproperty.com, stillsproperties.com.au. Check her out. There's a lot more to her than just these stories, and get a copy of her book. And perhaps you know of someone that's coming up in the real estate world and wants to um, start a career in that area. This would be a great gift. So, again, Bridget, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your story. And to our listeners, I want to thank you for joining us here today. And wherever you are in this world, we want to wish you a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gail.